Jahara, do you think IT industry requires more women, and why?
Of course they do. Just like in any other sector, more women are required. And the reason is half your customer base anyway is women. How are you going to create applications or technology for women without knowing their perspective?
Do you think it's a general perspective that IT and financial industry is more dominated by men and women do not have that kind of intellect or brains to be there?
So it is true that there are not enough women in tech or in finance, but it is not true that they don't have the intellect to be in those fields. They just haven't had the opportunity, and I think that opportunity needs to be presented to them. The numbers are increasing, but they're still not satisfactory.
What role do you think your organization is playing or will play in this area to bring in more women?
So we have a diversity and inclusion committee, and they're not there just in name. It is headed by two women, and one of the men on our board is also involved. And they are pursuing initiatives which will bring more women into the fold. This includes training, this includes leadership, and I think all that is required, because if you want more women to join, you have to convince them why it is important for them to be there.
Of course. Tamkeen, do you think HR needs more pro women men?
See, honestly, the truth here is that when we say being pro women, it is not being anti men, right? So it is about being pro equality. And that's a mindset that we need to cultivate across the globe and help people understand the true definition of being pro women. And if we are to take that definition, I don't think just HR, but that's a need. The pro equality attitude is a need of every function. And if we really want to reap the right benefits of D&I, we need to plug in the right thought process across the organization.
So, when you say inclusive organization, do you think we can actually bring in more inclusive minded men to create a gender inclusive workplace?
I would say rather, uh, if you really want to see that equality across the organization, you need a balance in the leadership roles of both men and women playing that role, right? We'll not be able to achieve, that equality unless we plug women leaders in those roles, because that thought process actually has to start from the top. You can't start from the bottom at the middle level and then, everything sort of, disappearing at the top, right? So it is important to have the right balance at the leadership roles at the top of the organization and the same to actually cascade down.
Coming to you, Jahara, do you think Pakistani entrepreneurial space cushions males more than females?
So I don't know whether it cushions them or not, but yes, when I started the Nest.io, in our first cohort, there was only one woman entrepreneur. And that really irritated me and confused me. And I said, where are all the women? Because I know there are a number of women who have started businesses, but have not got to the stage where they're being recognized. So I went out there, I spoke at universities, I spoke at events, and I said, where are the women? And they said, even at university or at home, women are not told that they can do just about anything. They're told, this is where you belong, you can become a doctor, you can become a teacher, you can do this or that. But they don't say, the whole world is an opportunity for you. Do whatever you feel passionate about or whatever you have a skill set to do. And then when I went out and did this, by the time we reached our fourth or fifth cohort, we had 50% women entrepreneurs. And it has gone up and down over that period up until now. In our 12th cohort, we have more women than we have men. So I think it's just telling people that there is an opportunity and also making that opportunity available to them. And you will see them rise, and we have.
A question for both of you. When you say you have brought in 50% of more women in IT industry, do you think women have made their own perception about themselves that hampers their growth before we talk about any other factors?
So I think personally, when people say what stops women from achieving what they can, the first thing they need to do is look into themselves. I think there's a lack of confidence. There's a lack of knowledge that they have that skill set and that ability to grow. So women keep themselves back to a certain degree. And then after that, of course, society, the community, the number of roles they have to play in society, all that also interferes with their growth. But I think the first thing for them to do is to convince themselves that they can do anything they wish.
Tamkeen, your take on this?
I agree with that, what just Jahanara, shared with us. We need to look in ourselves, right? There are many times that we mark those limitations for our own selves, right? And the concept generally that men are the roadblockers, I could share millions of examples that, where we've seen women creating those blockages. But it's really about, the belief in yourself, the character that you hold, and how strong you are internally, and, how you let people treat you is what makes a difference here.
Moving on to my next question from you, Tamkeen. What is your definition of diverse and inclusive workplace? And I believe heading the HR function, you must have a very comprehensive one.
So D&I to me is about acknowledging that we all are humans, and by default, we are as different as DNA. So in my books, it is about embracing others and celebrating individuality.
So when we talk about inclusive workplace, do you think men have a particular role to play?
So men, when they want to create an inclusive workforce, or rather I would say when leaders want to create an inclusive workplace, it is important that they enable women in the organization with the right tools, right? They have to, for a moment, stop thinking that women, now they need to think differently when it comes to equality, right? You can't think that because we are men, we can be sitting around till 10 o'clock in the organization. Why are women not sitting at 10 o'clock? So that should not be the criteria for judging equality here, right? It is about giving them the right tools to be able to perform at the optimal level.
That is a very right answer, because most of the women are told that if you're not able to stay late at work, you're less productive. But at the same time, women get less opportunities to socialize in a professional environment, which actually hampers their professional network. How do you both agree to this?
So I think men, so one of the strongest things I believe is that the women in workplaces are often held back simply because they don't have the kind of networks that men have. And the reason they don't have those kind of networks is because they have multiple roles to play in society. So they cannot take off on the weekend and go and play golf and do all sorts of things or hang out late at night, because they have families to take care of, they have the household to take care of, they have their husbands to take care of, their parents, they have community responsibilities. It's a lot that women have to contend with. So that is the reason that sometimes they are made to feel that, hey, you're not socializing with your peers, and perhaps you're not as effective as you should be as a leader. That's not true. There should be events and activities that are created around the kind of responsibilities that women have, which means, okay, if you're going to have an event, invite the entire family, make it a family event. Then women will be able to join you. Even if it is a golfing event, there can be multiple things happening, because some people don't play golf, but they might be sitting around, maybe around a lake and just talking, or there might be games that people are playing, football or whatever. So I think you need to think creatively so that women can participate. But expecting them to work till late at night or take part in all social events when they have not been created for their inclusion is something that I think is not possible.
Amazing answer, Jahara. Tamkeen, I would like to continue this question to you. I think it's time that support has to go both ways, and men now need to share domestic responsibilities equally with women. What is your take on this?
To the last question that you had put up with Jahanara, I would just like to add, again, men and women, they both need to be, aware of the fact that a normal workplace situation is that many of the decisions happen to be outside the boardroom, right? And like it was said, it can be through many social events, right? It could be through many, casual smoke breaks maybe, right? So to be aware that, when decisions actually happen at those forums, we might not be inclusive, because women who cannot become part of those, because obviously they have to share responsibilities otherwise, are going to be then, not part of such decisions, right? And we talk about inclusive organizations, they have to be aware that this factor to consider is important. The question that you just asked, I would rather think differently, because I believe God has made men and women differently. They have been given different abilities, right? All we need to do is empower those abilities, right? A woman is generally a multitasker, right? If you give her the right tools, if you give her the right balance, right peace of mind, I mean, you would just see how she's going to manage that balance between the domestic and the professional life. So the role, instead of, when you talk about men doing things that women are doing at home, I don't think we should make much of an attempt to that. The role that they can play is actually create that space for that woman to be able to bring in that balance, and you see that women can do it very smartly.
So whereas I agree partly with what Tamkeen is saying, I would like to differ. I have 3 brothers. 2 of them are married with families, and they enjoy cooking and sharing responsibilities with their spouses. And I think it makes for a more understanding environment, more balanced environment. Naturally, if they have spent the whole day at work and they come home, the wife is not going to expect that they're going to clean the house and what have you. But there are weekends, and sometimes both husbands and wives are working. Then they need to support each other. If one is cooking, the other one can wash up. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
And men should not consider it beneath them to take part in the household chores. My brothers certainly don't, and they're very happy in their relationship and in their family lives. So I think this is something perhaps that we have made men feel from the time that they are born. Mothers don't let them do anything, and then sisters don't let them do anything. I'm guilty of that. I would tell my brothers, give me this, shirt, I'll iron it, and then wives don't let them do anything because they think it's their responsibility. I think this needs to change. I think the balance is needed. That doesn't mean men need to do everything that women are doing, because Tamkeen is right. Certain things women are just better at.
I will just, out of my personal life, I'll share an example. So when I had to put in late nighters at work, or probably come back home a little late because I have to take care of certain professional responsibilities that I would have, my husband, instead of expecting that, I'll go in the kitchen and cook food, I always had the liberty of maybe ordering it on my way, or, food ordered and placed at the table so that we could have dinner together. Even when you cannot cook, you can always make sure that the right thing is available for the person to actually take care of that need. And also, another personal example to what you shared, my son is 5 years old, right? So when we'll go for toy shopping, many times he had interest in buying kitchen toys, right? And my husband told me, what are you getting him? Like, see, if he, from now onwards, if he feels that he might have a role to play in the kitchen and, be a helping hand, why not? And then he enjoyed those kitchen toys.
And remember,
so maybe we probably create that discrimination right on, that these toys are not for boys, these are for girls, right? But if we eliminate that, I mean, he would enjoy even, playing with a toy iron to iron clothes.
And remember, some of the best chefs in the world are men.
Yes.
Rightly said. This is where the change should start from, actually. Coming back to my question, a very important one from both of you. How do you see men limiting your personal and professional growth? And of course, we are talking about wider audience here.
I don't think that if we were careful and didn't allow them to, they couldn't. So it's because we allow them to limit our growth that some men do, and that's not true of all men. Some of my greatest supporters in my professional career have been men, whether it was my father, whether it's within the professions that I have worked in. Some of the men have been the champions, and they have said, go ahead, you can do this, don't let anyone tell you you can't. So I don't think men can limit you if you feel that you cannot be limited. That doesn't mean you should be aggressive about it. You just need to prove that you do the best job in that position. And they will acknowledge it because they want the best for their organizations. So I think it's a matter of being confident. Again, like we started off saying, if you're confident, if you have the skill set, there's no way anyone can limit you other than not giving you that opportunity.
Tamkeen, your take on this?
We need to look inside ourselves, right? probably it is us who's limiting our own selves, right? In my life also, my biggest supporters, was my father, who made sure I had the right education. My husband, who made sure that, he puts that belief in me that sky is the limit, go get everything. My son, who gave me the strength to be a go-getter.
My last question from both of you, as you're pretty much accomplished women, what do you see was the key factor that helped you overcome societal barriers?
I think I was blessed to have the right support system. So yes, some of the biases that I would have faced is that, okay, now I might be praising my own self, but she's young and can she really take a leadership role? Or probably, sitting, in a group where I was the only woman. So those are the kind, and then to have a voice, being the only person is what you have to struggle with at times. But otherwise, men generally around me have been very, very supportive.
So I think most women who become leaders and who create an impact have to continuously educate themselves, be good listeners, make sure that they express their opinions instead of keeping quiet on certain subjects, because unless you speak up, people don't know that these are things that you're aware of, that you're capable of doing. So it really is up to us, and I think I have also had a very good support system. My parents, as we were growing up with 3 brothers, 2 sisters, told us that we could do whatever we wanted. And I think that has worked well for all of us, because we're all in professions where we're happy, we're all in professions where we've grown, and we've also helped other people grow. I think in my case, it's not just been about my own growth. What makes me happy is to make sure that I create an impact and make a more inclusive workspace where people can also grow because of me. And that, I think, is the best thing you can do for yourself as well as others.
Tamkeen, coming to you, one piece of advice that you would like to give to women who actually aspire to be corporate leaders?
I would say women take care of each other. You're there to fix each other's crown and not pull it down, right? You have been through a lot to make your way to becoming a successful leader. Make sure that other women who are struggling don't have to struggle as much.
Jahara, a piece of advice to women who actually aspire to be tech entrepreneurs?
I would say don't let anything stop you. If you want to be a tech entrepreneur, there's nothing that will hold you back other than yourself. Yes, there are going to be people around you who may say you can't do it. Just don't listen to them. Just work on it. If you're passionate, if you're capable, if you're a good learner, and you think you can create an impact, go ahead and do it. Because unless you do it, others will not be able to follow. So there are times you will question yourself. Just don't let that be you. It has to be constant effort that makes you be the top in your profession. It's not something that happens overnight. There will be challenges. Men also face challenges. Yeah. There will be perhaps environments where you will feel uncomfortable. That happened to me when I first started. I was the only woman in a room full of maybe 100 men. And I felt uncomfortable, but I would not make it obvious. You need to make sure that you are strong inside, and every day working on it is what's going to ensure that that happens.
That's an amazing answer. One last question that I would like to place. What would you like to challenge this Women's Day?
I would like to challenge all the male leaders who do not create an opportunity for women in their organizations. If the SCCP says you should have 1 woman on the board, that doesn't mean you should limit it to 1 woman. Why don't you have 4 women on the board and prove that you really believe in D&I? So I would challenge all the male leaders in the corporate sector to look at this and prove to me that you are really as open about the D&I agenda as you claim to be as organizations.
Tamkeen, your take on this?
I would challenge all the women leaders to make way for other women to be in successful roles, in leadership roles, right? Make sure you're supporting them. They need support, right? Everybody goes through struggles, and it is important that we help each other out.